What are you doing home? Why aren't you at work? Why are you packing? I thought the questions wouldn't end. It would be nice if she gave me a chance to answer one of them before she asked the next. Caitlin stood at the bedroom door and watched me pack. I traveled a lot, but this time I was packing to leave and she could tell the difference. I lost my security clearance and I got fired. What? Brian, that doesn't make sense. Can they do that? Don't you have to have a hearing or something? They spent 3 hours explaining it to me this morning. Could you explain it to me a little bit more in detail? No. Caitlin crouched on the far edge of the bed, waiting for my answer. Let me ask you some questions. Your answers might explain what happened. I continued packing. I don't understand. Caitlin, what did you do yesterday morning before you left for work? What I always do. I went to Starbucks and had a coffee. Why do you ask? Do you drink coffee alone? Usually. How about yesterday? A brief hesitation followed before she answered. I ran into an old friend I went to Georgetown with. Does your friend have a name? Ari Humada. He was an exchange student from Lebanon. How good a friend was Ari? What do you mean? You said he was an old friend. How good a friend? Was he a casual acquaintance, a classmate, or someone you may have dated? I watched my wife fidget a little on the bed. She tried to choose her words carefully. Ari and I dated for a while. How long did it last? Damn it, Brian. What's the purpose of these questions? We agreed before we got married that we wouldn't ask each other about previous relationships. Do you remember that? I'm in a hurry, Caitlin. Can you just answer the question? We dated for about 1.5 years. I still don't understand why that's important. What happened after coffee? I went to work. Right away, or did you make a stop? Caitlin started wringing his hands. She seemed a little uncomfortable on the bed. Ari forgot his laptop, so I took a walk with him while he went to get it. Where did he forget it? I asked. Why do you ask? Why all the questions? Where, Caitlin? He left it in his room. I took a walk with him while he took it. You went into his room? Yes, but it was only for a few minutes. Caitlin, it's bad enough you're avoiding my questions, but it's completely unacceptable when you lie. I don't understand. I stopped packing for a moment and looked intently at my wife. My tone changed from careless to determined. How long were you in that room with Ari Humeda? No nonsense, just answer the question. Now she was confused. I don't remember. It was probably more than a few minutes. We started talking and reminiscing about old times. I didn't keep track of time. I'm not sure how long I was there. It was 2 hours and 47 minutes, Caitlin. From the time you walked into his room to the time you left was 2 hours and 47 minutes. Tell me what you talked about for almost 3 hours. I don't understand, Brian. Why are you doing this? How do you know that? What does this have to do with you getting fired? There she goes again, asking questions faster than I can answer them. That's the reason I got fired, Caitlin. It doesn't make sense. Just because I spent some time with an old friend is no reason for you to lose your job. I started packing my last suitcase. I left the first 2 by the apartment door. The problem isn't that you spent time with him. The problem is what you talked about. Caitlin went quiet and sat perfectly still. How do you know what we talked about? The FBI has been bugging his room since he came to town last week. I spent 3 hours this morning listening to those tapes. 2 hours and 47 minutes of that while you were there, and 10 minutes when he was on the phone after you left. Did you hear the whole thing? I nodded affirmatively. Oh, God, no. I'm so sorry, Brian. Ari and I were together for so long in college, and spending a few hours with him yesterday was so normal and natural. I never meant to hurt you. Our marriage is more important than that. Listening to the 2 of you having sex like a pair of rabbits was bad enough, but that's not why I got fired. The government doesn't care if my wife is a whore, but they do care when she's passing national secrets to foreign agents. It would have been fine if you'd just slept with him, but no, you had to brag about the important work your husband was doing for the National Security Agency. Brian, I didn't realize that. I didn't know about Ari. I was proud of you and what you were doing. I was trying to impress Ari with your importance and how lucky I was to be married. I didn't really tell him anything about what you were doing, just the places you went and the people you met. I just talked about simple, unimportant things. It was a setup, Caitlin. After you left, he called his superiors and told them that his seduction of an NSA agent's wife had gone smoothly and according to plan. He had video cameras in his room so he could blackmail you later. For your information, what you told him yesterday was actually important, even more than you could have imagined. Now she was sitting on the edge of the bed, crying. I finished packing the last suitcase and put it with the others. "Where are you going? How can I get in touch with you? How can we make things right?" And here she is asking questions again. "I have a plane to catch in 60 minutes. I don't think we're going to talk again, Caitlin. Goodbye." There was a knock on the door. 2 federal agents in gray suits quietly entered the room. I stepped around them and carried my 3 suitcases out into the hallway. As I walked out, I heard the first man address my wife. "Caitlin Sorensen, the Department of Homeland Security would like to speak with you. Could you come with us, please?" As I headed for the waiting cab, I couldn't help thinking, what the hell was I going to do in Belize?